I hated being skinny, so I dedicated myself every single day. 19 months later, Coach Greg, in today's video, we're doing a natty or not. A guy's name is Hussein Farhat. He has 1.7 million followers on Instagram, and he became famous for having the most ridiculous before and after transformation that perhaps I've ever seen. Not to mention, this guy is absolutely shredded. Single-digit body fat in particular. Look at this guy's chest. He pulls over the spaghetti straps, and all you see are striations from the sternum to the clavicle. The first thing I notice is, guess what? The guy is sponsored by Gymshark. And so what do you think the results are going to be? But let's give him a fair shot. Let's compare how he started, did he have amazing genetics, and see how he ended up.
As we all know, there's no better compliment than being called a fake natty as a natural lifter.
Many people are accusing him of being a fake natty. And I wonder why. And so he started this transformation only 2.5 years ago. The guy was 18 years of age and had what I would call an average physique. He was in fact very shredded, but he didn't have a lot of muscle. But remember, he hadn't been lifting weights, he hadn't touched the weights, and perhaps was not eating any calorie surplus. And so you can see him with the glasses, the little biceps, pretty shredded, but he doesn't have a lot of muscle. He's standing like this after only a couple weeks of training, and he does appear to have some muscle. And so perhaps he just has amazing genetics for putting on muscle. He started off very thin, not a lot of muscle, but once he goes to the gym and starts working out, the muscles, they just get built faster than last time. 19 versus 21. Natural. And so as he stands there, he does not appear to have a small waist. The shoulders don't appear to be very broad. He seems to have an average looking physique. And going to the back does appear to be a bit more impressive. The starting point from the front didn't have a lot of muscle, but from the rear, he does in fact have more muscle than last time. But in comparison, in only 2 years, this is a significant difference. I'm not talking about a guy who went through puberty. He wasn't 12 going on to 15. He wasn't 12 going on to 21. And so does anyone actually believe that this guy is natural? Let's look at the best chart in the world for predicting muscle growth. The real journey of natural muscle gains. And so in year 1, if you have great genetics, you can expect to gain somewhere between 8 and 12 pounds of muscle. Year 2, 6 to 8, and year 3, 4 to 6. And so let's assume he has really good genetics, which clearly he does. If you add up those 3 years, it would be about 26 pounds of muscle, yet he built double that. Now remember, if he has beyond great genetics, elite level genetics, perhaps 1 in a million genetics, it is in fact possible. But does this guy have the 1 in a million genetics? And so what we want to see is, are there signs that the guy's on steroids? Does he in fact have a lot of acne? Looking at the back, does he have a lot of back acne? I don't see any. Doesn't have any acne whatsoever, and so this is a point in his favor. But does he have any gyno? Gynecomastia is caused from testosterone being converted to estrogen, and what you can see is a gland around the nipple. And so let's examine the nipple area. And so what better way than to pull over the stringer and see, does he have any gynecomastia around the nipple? And so if we zoom in closer than last time, you can clearly see an indentation surrounding the nipple. That is known as gyno. And so he clearly has gyno in this photo. And so if somebody is looking at his physique and is saying, do you think this guy's natural? Well, this goes against him. Having gyno, it can be possible that it's from puberty. Perhaps 3 to 5% of teenagers are going to get this despite not having taken testosterone. When you go through puberty, you obviously have a surge of testosterone. This testosterone can convert to estrogen, and so you can in fact get gyno. And so just because you have gyno, it doesn't guarantee that you're on testosterone. But the chances are higher than last time. That, coupled with the fact that he's sponsored by Gymshark, well, I'm going to have to go with this guy is not natural. I mean, think of it. The guy was in the 120s. He didn't have a lot of muscle. He put on close to 60 pounds in 2.5 years. He did this all the while and is currently shredded. It's not fat. It's not water retention. It's not bloating. This is quality lean tissue. And in comparison to the waist didn't get smaller technically. How could it? And so what he did is he kept the waist the same size and he built boulder-sized shoulders on each side of his arms. The shoulders combined with the chest, combined with the striations, the definition, makes his physique seem hard to believe that it's natural. Gotta get leaner now. I mean, really? Does he have to get leaner now? The guy's got pecs like Franco Columbu, a split between the upper and lower pecs. Gotta get leaner now. Why? How come? You're already shredded. Already single-digit body fat. You don't need to get leaner. Now remember, when you're trying to put on muscle, what have I always said? Try to stay at an ideal body fat percentage for you. And for most people, it's probably around 12 to 15% body fat. And so if you're at single digit body fat and you try to gain from there, it's going to be significantly harder to put on muscle. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if you're natural, it's going to be harder than last time. But if he were enhanced, that would certainly make it a lot easier. And so are we to believe that this guy put on over 50 pounds of muscle in just over 2.5 years while being 100% natural and remaining in single-digit body fat? I mean, sure, you can bulk and cut, but it seems like he's always on a cut. How often does this guy look like he's on a bulk versus how often does this guy look leaner than last time? Look at the size of the friggin' shoulders. The traps, the delts. The delts look ridiculous. Is it possible that he's not on testosterone but is just using hyaluronic acid? You could in fact inject oils and so on into the delts and it would make the shoulders look larger than last time. Yeah, sure, it's possible. Perhaps he's not on testosterone, he's just using filler, so to speak, to make his shoulders bigger. But if that were the case, how would he have developed those pecs? And what about the gyno? To the side of the Gymshark shirt, you can see the nipples poking through and they do appear to have some gyno. Not only is this guy shredded, he's also very vascular. You see some veins protruding through the biceps, into the shoulders, into the arms, and even throughout the chest. This is a very lean athlete. You can see him standing there trying not to fall in the water. And what do you notice about his abdominals? You don't notice a six-pack. And so it says, pick up the fork. He already has more body fat in the before photo than he did in the after photo. And so his suggestion, pick up the fork. If you pick up the fork and you already don't have abs and you eat more calories, what do you think is going to happen to your abdominals? Do you think you're going to get more shredded or do you think you're going to lose the shreds? And so what happened to him? He got more shredded. Look at the after photo. You picked up the fork. Clearly, the guy cannot see any abs. You do not see abs in the before photo. It's not that he doesn't have any muscle, but he's at a normal percentage of body fat, perhaps 15% body fat, a healthy body fat percentage. But in the after photo, he looks a lot leaner. How is it that you're in a bulk and getting leaner at the same time? If that is actually what you're doing, do you know what it's called? It's called a cut. If you pick up the fork and eat more food, are you not on a bulk? But if you end up being more shredded, you're technically on a cut. I don't care how many calories you have. If you go from eating 2,000 calories a day to 3,000 calories and you get leaner and have a six-pack, you cut. You are cutting. And if you maintain about the same amount of body fat and you put on muscle, it's called gaining. And so what you should not do if you're trying to put on muscle is to eat a lot of food. If you eat a lot of food and you notice your body fat going up, then you're eating too much, you're getting fat. I would suggest you gain. This body that I see in the before photo, perfect for gain. He's already at a healthy body fat percentage. He doesn't need to eat more food. He just needs to maintain that percentage body fat and put on muscle. But what did he do? He lost body fat and built muscle at the same time. Very difficult. As he's standing there, it says abs addition. What about the gyno addition? You can clearly see a ring around the nipples. You can see the gyno. Although he doesn't have any acne whatsoever, he definitely has gyno. I hated being skinny, so I dedicated myself every single day. 19 months later, I mean, you saw it with your own eyes. In 19 months, that's 1 year and 7 months, he went from being a skinny guy, he seemed to have some abs, to having a ton of muscle. It's very obvious. It's as if he put 17 years of training in only a matter of 17 months. To me, this is indicative of a guy who is using performance-enhancing drugs. Even with Turk Builder and GO2 Max, I don't think this is a normal transformation, even for a guy with amazing genetics. This is far superior. This is a 1 in a million transformation. And so, is it possible that he's natural? Well, it's possible. There's 1 in a million chance. There's almost anything's possible. But what is more likely? If you had to bet your last dollar if this guy is natural or if he's not, I certainly think you're going to bet he's not natural. May 28th, he's doing the thigh and abdominals. You can clearly see the guy has some gyno. Very, very lean. June 4th, 2023. Goodness gracious. After 1.5 years of training, he's showing his meals, he's showing you what he eats, but look at how shredded his physique is. Did he not say he's going on a bulk, that he's eating more food? The guy is shredded. If anything, the guy went on a cut while gaining more muscle than last time. Now, if you have newbie gains, it's certainly easier to put on a lot of muscle. He just joined the gym, and considering this guy has great genetics, I do expect him to be able to put on a lot of muscle and get leaner at the same time. But the amount of transformation that he made, truly unbelievable. I personally don't believe it. If he were on steroids, for the most part, if you were to take steroids and or SARMs and make this kind of transformation, it would still be very impressive. And so even with steroids, this kind of transformation, this kind of physique is very rare. Week 2, November 2021. Are you kidding? And so in 2 weeks, remember this guy, he just started training, and in 2.5 years, he put on all this muscle. But look at the changes he made in the first 2 weeks. Did he in fact hop on steroids and or SARMs at day 1 of his training? It is, of course, possible. He's taken a before photo. He's saying, look at me. I'm going to make a transformation. 2 weeks later, he's got his first progress photo, and it looks as if he's put on 10 pounds of muscle. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? He's clearly got some biceps, there's a vein protruding, his abs are starting to become noticeable, and his chest is beginning to form. Also, he appears to have decently wide clavicles. The clavicles are how wide your shoulders are ultimately going to be. The wider your clavicles, the wider your shoulders are going to appear. And so he does already seem to be putting on a ton of muscle. In 2 weeks, look at the back. Are you kidding me? Look at the definition. This looks incredible. Guy could be competing on stage right now. I mean, look at the back. He's doing a back double bicep. It looks very good. He's very lean. You can see some detail. But the size that he put on in that amount of time, just don't believe this is natural. Bro, please tell me you're natural. His response? I am. All this is the result of taking Needle's clown face. 100% natural, but I appreciate the compliment, brother. Is this natural? Genuine question. 100% natural. 100% on steroids. Nah. Well done. What supplements do you take or vitamins? He uses steroids, my friend. Can you do a drug test and post? I see no response to that question. And so the people are saying in general, there's no way this guy's natural. They have the same eyes as me. Well, perhaps I have laser eyes. I'm very good at determining body fat percentage. But what the general consensus is there's no way this guy is natural. And so what the people are demanding is a drug test. And so I would challenge him. Show us your blood work. You want to prove that you're natural? It's not all that hard. Hey, look at what my blood work shows. If his blood work shows his testosterone levels are through the roof, or perhaps his testosterone is in the tank, like Messiah Miranda. Remember he had 21 nanograms per deciliter and said, see, I'm not taking anything. 21! I was on test and trend. My freaking testosterone levels were 48. And so if your testosterone levels are crashed, if they're tanked, you're probably on something, and that's why your test levels are in the toilet. Also, we'll see perhaps certain things like your AST, ASL, they'll be elevated. Your HDL, the good cholesterol, it's going to be in the tank. Your LDL could be elevated. There's many signs of what is going to happen if you're in fact taking steroids. And so all he has to do is go to the doctor, get his blood work done, test everything. And if I examine it, I'm going to tell you, is the guy actually natural or is he in fact enhanced? Are you 100% natty? If no, answer, I assume you're not. 100% natty, bro. Bro's got my gains lifting 1.5 years in his 2-week progress pic. That is exactly what I noticed. In 2 weeks, it looked like the guy had been training for 2 years. This is not normal. And so is it possible that he simply started his transformation while on a cycle and had both newbie gains and newly introduced steroids into his body? If you combine newbie gains with steroids, this is the kind of results you could expect with amazing genetics. Nice physique, not possible in 2 years though. I smell the steroid. If bro is natural, then I'm Kratos. Roid's working pretty good. I know a natty when I see one. This guy is definitely on steroids. Unfollow cause fake natural. 1 step away, needle. Bro, if that's not at least TRT, I will be gay. Stop promoting for lying. Steroids versus natural. What steroids are you on? 7 needle emoticons. Tell us God promised you are natural. Needle symbol. In the history of me doing natty or nots, this is perhaps the most one-sided I've ever seen. The vast majority of people are saying there's no way this guy is natural. And so if this guy is natural, it's perhaps the greatest before and after transformation of all time. I would love to see him prove us wrong. I want to believe that this guy is natural, but based on the evidence, the fact that he has gyno, the fact that he's put on almost 60 pounds of muscle in 2.5 years while being shredded, having striations in the chest, veins, and so on, it's simply too hard to believe. And what has happened in our past? Well, we've seen guys like, for example, Dylan McKnight. He says, trust me, bro, I'm natural. I haven't taken anything. And then years go by, later puts a video out and say, hey, I wasn't natural. I was taking Osterine.
Yeah, just over 3 years ago now, I took a SARM.
And look at the biceps as he's standing in front of his car. Look at the small waist. The guy looks incredible. If this man achieved this physique natural, imagine what he could do if he were taking performance-enhancing drugs. He started this transformation at roughly 18 or 19 years of age. Chris Bumstead, he started taking steroids at 18. And what happened to Chris Bumstead? He's the Mr. Olympia champion 5 years running. If this guy is natural at this age, 21, without using steroids, imagine what he would look like in 2 years if he became the Trend Twins. This guy is 2 years younger than the Trend Twins. Imagine the physique he would have if he were to take steroids for 2 years. He has an extremely small waist, very wide shoulders. If you were to stand in men's physique or classic physique and put on some more muscle, perhaps diet down for 4 weeks, this guy would be dominant in bodybuilding competitions. I hope for his sake and for the rest of us that this was done 100% natural, but I simply don't believe it. And so let me know in the comment section, do you believe this guy is natural or do you think he was enhanced? Can't wait to read the comments. Do you believe him or do you believe Coach Greg? Now, if you are trying to stay natural, I know it's hard, start at least with GO2 Max and Turk Builder. These supplements can make a huge difference. I'm not lying to you. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm taking these supplements right now and it makes an immediate difference. In a matter of a few days, perhaps a week, you are going to see and feel the difference. That is amazing for being a natural supplement. It's certainly far better than creatine, and everyone knows that creatine can work. Consider it creatine on steroids. This stuff is very effective. It's not a steroid. It's not as effective as testosterone, but it's far better than any other natural supplement I have ever tried. Interested in these supplements, or of course the cookbook, the training books, all that stuff, get to my website, code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Also watch one of those 2 bloops. And if you got no money, young people, perhaps you can't afford these things, get over to my website. Get the free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages. Join the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. And until next time, I am out.